Hi, hello, Vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. So, in our previous video, we saw about the XPath assertions in one of our previous videos, which is more specifically and focused on XPath assertions. So, in this video, we're going to see about the XPath2 assertion. So, first, I will show you how to add an XPath assertion, and I will give you three different examples on how to use it, and also I will take you through what are all the advantages of using an XPath assertion and how effectively you can use XPath assertions to your performance testing. So first I'll show you how to add an XPath assertion. So under your HTTP request, go to add and then the assertion, and you can add the XPath2 assertion. So once you add your XPath2 assertions, you normally see this window here which says that it applies to main sample and subsamples, or to the main sample only, or to the subsamples only, or if in case you want to define a variable name, you can use the jMeter variable name to use. And then the next thing here is the XPath2 assertion, where you will write your the code here, the assertion code, which you can validate here to see for any syntax issues. So the next thing is, here you can see the invert assertion. So this is something like a not choice. So in case if you want to see something like it should not work, then you can choose this invert assertion. So this will fail if the XPath assertion expression matches. So here we'll write some few valid expressions. So the first expression here is, so before we move on to the video, this is me, Vasan Shanmugam. I welcome you all to Little's Law YouTube channel. In case if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share the video with your friends. And so here I will show you what is the actual response and how are we going to extract a response using or to check or to validate the response using the XPath expression. So let me execute this here, and this is the valid response. So here you can see the values. So the first thing which I'm going to see here is I'm going to check for the div ID. So in case if there is any div ID with the catalog, so I'm going to validate this value in here, and the XPath code expression is / no backslash and then div, and then I'm adding a square bracket with @ symbol id equal to catalog. So first let me validate the jpath expression, and here you can see it's a valid jxpath expression. So this is a very first valid expression. So in case if it doesn't work, it won't work even when you are running it in this script. So please make sure it works fine at the very first time. So you should have this valid XPath expression, which means at least the syntax and everything is fine. Now let me run this. Sorry, let me enable it again. So let me run it for you. So I have executed it, and here you can see it's a valid response. So I will explain you what is the syntax talks about. So why is that / and what does it tells you. So now the very first two backslash is here. So this symbolizes that the search starts from the root of the document, meaning it will search the entire document for the specified pattern. Next comes the div. So this indicates that we are looking for a div element. And next comes the @id equal to catalog. So this is a condition that narrows down the search. So it specifies that the div element must have an attribute named id with the value of catalog. So now let's move on to some more specifics. I use the same div id equal to catalog, but still I'm going to narrow it down. So in case if in most of the scenarios, if you want to find a value, you can use this expression. So here I'm going to again narrow it down. So I'm adding a \a and then contains another bracket inside it, and which tells the as text of comma, and then I'm going to search for the value poodle. So this is a type in here. So I can even show you in the expression. Let me just copy this value here, and let's go to the results tree and search the value here. So here you can see this value under the product ID. So this is what we are going to search now. So under the catalog, we are going to search for this particular item. And the first part is to validate the expression, and yes, it works fine. So the XPath expression is valid, and now let's execute this particular test. So here you can see it's again passed. So what does this explains? Why does it say this? So as I have already discussed about this first part, which is the div, the ID catalog. Now let's move on to the second part, which is the 2 backslashes in here. So this indicates that we're going to search for elements inside the div, which we found in the previous step, and then the A. So what does this A indicate? So this indicates that we are now looking for an A element which represents a hyperlink. And now the third part, which is the contains text of poodle. So this is a condition specifying that the A element text content must contain the word poodle. So which I have showed you the expression, the response. So the contains function checks if a string contains a specified substring. So this is useful because the A element might have other text of our elements inside it, and we are only interested in those words containing the word poodle. So that's why we have used this expression, this particular XPath expression, to extract the value. So in the third example, we will move on to a totally different value in searching or to finding do a text check. So now let's move on to the third example. So let me write the third example for you, which starts with href equals a double quote and backslash actions, another backslash, catalog, a forward slash dot action, and then here we are going to look more into the jSession ID, which is a very common correlation value, and then it has to be within A to F, and then the number should be inside 0 to 9 plus another forward slash where we are going to view the product. So we are going to view the product equals symbol ampersand, and then again the product ID equals 9, which is one of the product we have inside this response here, PO, and then O2, and I'm going this close to this tag, and then again I'm going to give this name PO and then O2. So we have completed the full expression. So now we have completed the full expression, and let me do a validate XPath expression. So now this XPath expression is valid, and let's now execute it, and I will explain you this complete expression, why it is mentioned in this way. So now here when I run this, so here the XPath expression is valid, and I will explain you what is this href talks about. So here let's go back to the expression. So the first set, which is the href, so this is an attribute we all know in an HTML anchor element that specifies the target URL when the link is clicked, and then the second set of expression, which is actions catalog dot action jSession ID. So this is the beginning part of the URL, so it specifies the path that the link points to. So the backslash before the dot, which you see here, is used to escape the dot, because in regular expressions a dot matches any character. So slash dot action matches the literal text dot action, and then the jSession ID. So this is a query parameter in the URL. It's a parameter used to maintain the user session, and then we have the A to F, 0 to 9. This is a regular expression pattern if it matches one or more characters that are either uppercase letters from A to F or digits from 0 to 9. So this is typically used to represent a hexadecimal value. And next, finally, the view product ID. So this part specifies the additional query parameters, and then the slash question mark here is an escape sequence for the question mark. So in irregular expressions, a question mark has a special meaning, so it needs to be escaped if you want to match it literally. And then this view product until the k9 the 02. So these are specific query parameters and their values, so they are part of the URL's query string. For instance, view product equal to might be a parameter that indicates a request to view a specific product, and a product ID is equal to k9po02. So with that we come to an end. So let me just tell you why is this important. So what is the importance of using this XPath K2 assertion? So the validation of response content is the very first advantage or the benefit or the reason to use this XPath assertion, because XPath assertion allows us to validate the content of a web page or an API response. So this is crucial for ensuring that the application under test is returning the expected data. Next comes the dynamic data extraction. So the performance testers often involve extracting dynamic data. For example, the session ID is the tokens from responses to be used in subsequent requests. So XPath2 allows us to precisely locate and extract this data. And next is the parameterization. So performance tests often involve parameterizing values to simulate realistic user behavior. So XPath2 can be used to extract and dynamically replace value in request using a regular expression extractor. And next comes the error detection. So XPath2 can be used to detect for any error messages or specific content indicating a failed request. So this is important for identifying and reporting issues during performance testing. And next is the data driven testing. So nowadays the performance tests are data driven, where different sets of data are used to simulate different scenarios, and XPath2 can be used to extract data from external resources, that is from CSV files, and use it in requests. And next is the response time validation. So XPath2 can be used to verify that specific elements or values in responses are present within a defined time frame, ensuring acceptable response times, because most of us would need to validate the response times. So this is very useful in terms of response time validation. And next is the content verification. So for content heavy applications, XPath2 can be used to verify that the correct content is present on the page. And next, for most of these testers, this comes into picture. So the cross-browser testing. So XPath2 can help ensure that the elements are correctly located across different browsers, as element locators might vary. And next is the cross-platform testing. So similar to cross-browser testing, XPath2 can help ensure consistent element location across different platforms, example Windows or macOS. And next is the regression testing. So XPath2 assertion can be used to ensure that specific elements or content remains consistent across different versions or builds on an application. And finally, it is the enhanced debugging. So when a test fails, XPath2 can be used to quickly identify which element or data point caused the failure. So finally, in summary, XPath2 assertions are a powerful tool for accurately simulating user behavior, for validating responses, and identifying issues during performance testing. So they allow performance testers to create more robust and reliable tests, leading to more accurate performance measurements and actionable insights. So until I meet you in another interesting video, it's bye bye from Vasan Shanmugam and Little's Law.